Good morning, class. Today we're going to learn how to do these financial calculations using a pretty cool tool. It's called the TVM calculator. So this is a popular finance tool that accountants use, economists, even the dealership using it, figuring out your car payment. So it's called a TVM calculator, which is a time value money, which we had a lesson on all the inner workings of that, the math behind it. But there's calculators that'll make this a lot simpler, and then you can use this to solve different situations. So we'll use this quite a bit for the next couple weeks in investing, debt, and actually buying a car. So you can see like what happens when we do that. Okay, so let's first learn how to use this calculator. So we're going to take a situation here where Vanessa is the financial planner. We're all Vanessa today, and we have these different clients, and we're going to figure out some things on how they should invest their money, how much should they put up front, what they're going to make in the future, and different variables we're going to find. So here's all our variables in the chart below. Okay, future value, our time, our interest rate, our principal value, what do we start with, and then how is it being compounded. Okay, in this situation here, Josephine is one of the clients to Vanessa. She wants to retire in 50 years with $1 million. Vanessa is going to advise her that her account earned at least current rate of inflation. So I looked that up online. Right now in 2020 is 2.73%. That's via Statista, if you look that up. Use this information to complete the table here. All right, so first thing we got is she wants to retire with this. So that's going to be our future value. So again, here are our variables right there. The future value here is $1 million. So that is 6 zeros. Okay. Then she wants to do it in 50 years. Okay, so however old she is now, 50 years from now. So if you're 18, that's going to be, you're going to be 68 when you see this money. Interest rate is the rate of inflation. So we use this as a gauge. So whatever we're investing this money in, we want to make sure it is as good as 2.73% or better. And the reason is an inflation rate because things that cost now will cost more in the future. So we want to make sure that the money we're saving is going to at least meet the inflation rate. That way, the dollar is worth the same amount than it is now, if that makes any sense. Because the dollar won't buy you the same things it did back in 1950. Okay, where like bread was like 5 cents a loaf or something like that. So it's very different. Okay, so annual interest rate is, we're going to make it at least 0.273. Okay. Now, we converted that to a decimal in our calculations, which was 0.0273 for the interest rate. All right. Principal value, this is what we want to find out for Josephine and her client. We don't know what that is. So how much money does she need to have up front to make this $1 million to sit in there and grow to $1 million when she retires? Okay, and N is the number of compounding periods. So since we're dealing with inflation, let's go ahead and just say annually. Okay. And when we do annually, that's just that's going to be 1. All right, so 1 compounds per year every year. That inflation rate is applied. That interest is applied. Okay, so let's use our TVM calculator right here to make this computation. So we have one of these in our graphing calculator at school. If you have one, this is the variables it has. It's going to be a little different now because we're going to use one that's online that you can put on your phone or on the PC. And I'll give you that link in the assignment. Okay, so let's talk about these variables here. So notice one of the things is that there's more boxes. Okay, so you have more parts you're going to put in here. So one of the biggest issues with this calculator is big N. And what we got to do is realize that N really equals little n times t. Okay, so capital N equals little n times t. And if you look at the previous one, little n is the number of compounds per year. T is the number of years in investment. So what n actually is right here. It's your period. Okay, and you'll see that in our calculator. So N is really the period. All right, so like when you take out a car loan, it's like you have a 36-month period, which is 3 years. You have a 60-month period, which is a 5-year loan. So that's what they're talking. Okay, so there's this monthly, so 12 times 5 is 60. So that's 60 payments you'll be making to pay off this car. So it's kind of similar in this way, but instead we're using it to invest. All right, so periods, big N is N times T. So you can remember those little variables here, or T here, or N right here, make up that big N there. Okay, so if you're asked to find the time, or if you're asked to find the number of compounding periods, you're going to have to use that little equation here and solve it, which means basically you're going to divide by either little n or divide by T. Okay, so that comes later. So it's two things in one there. All right, interest rate is a little different. This one in the calculator, the TVM calculator, is expressed as a percent. So you do not need to convert to a decimal when we use our equation in the last lesson. So if we use the actual compound interest equation, we have to convert that interest rate to a decimal. On the TVM calculator, we don't. So if it is 2%, it's 2%. So let's put in some numbers here. So like I said, as a percent, we got 2.73% inflation. So we want that interest rate. As far as the number of compounding periods, like I said, it's little n times t. So since it's annually, and annually means 1, this is going to be 1 times our time, which is going to be 50 years. Okay. Then, of course, that's going to equal 50. Okay. Principal value, that's what we do not know. So that's the question mark. Payments, we're going to ignore this. Okay. Put 0. Okay, but we'll go back to payments in the future lesson. Okay, future value, we want $1 million. All right. And then our payments per year and our compounds per year, that's basically both little n. All right, so we'll put that number for both. So that's going to be a 1. So again, this follows the TI Inspire in our classroom, but when we use our online one, we're not going to do that. Actually, it's going to be a drop-down menu. We can just choose from there. Okay, so those are the parts there using the time value money calculator. So when we go online, this is what it's going to look like. All right, and let's just talk about this just a little bit. Okay, so you see the variables next to it. So present value, PV, payment, future value, rate, and then the periods. And then you see the compounding they have here. And then, of course, you can reset it to do another calculation. All right, so let's kind of work this thing out and fill out some things here before we actually go to the online calculator and do this calculation. All right, so our present value, we don't know what that is. All right, so this we don't know. This is the button we're going to press when we're done filling out the rest of it. Okay, the payments one I'm going to ignore. All right, so we're not going to do that one. All right, future value, of course, we want $1 million. This is what we're going to type in there. Okay, interest rate, we'll put that in as 2.73%, I believe it was. Let's double check. Yes. Okay, and then the periods. All right, so the periods, this is your big N right there. All right, so that's where we have little n times t, which in our case was compounded annually, which was 1 times 50. All right, so that's going to equal 50, and that's what we're going to put in here. All right, and then this is our payments per year and our compounds per year. If I can make a slash. Okay, and that's a drop-down menu. So what we're going to do is we're going to press that arrow, and we're going to put annually. Okay, instead of monthly. And that's basically how it's going to work here. So you'll see me put those in there into the calculator here in just a moment. So So to answer this question up here, what is our principal value? Those are the numbers we're going to put. So I'll give you the link, and it's going to look like this that we saw. All right, so I'm actually using this on a tablet, so I'll be pressing these numbers here. Okay, so our present value, that's what we're going to figure out. Payments, we're going to leave alone. Future value, boom, right there. That's where I'm going to put $1 million, so 6 zeros. All right, check it. Interest rate, tap the next one. That's going to be 2.73. Okay, we're going to leave it as a percent. Okay, the periods, we did that in the last slide, 50. Okay, and this is that drop down menu, so press that. Okay, scroll up a little bit, there's annually right there, and as you can see all the different compounds: semi-annually, quarterly, monthly, and I will put that into the lesson as well, so you can see the different compounds. Okay, once I got everything in there, the thing I want to figure out is the present value. So I'm just going to press present value, and it calculates it, negative 260,000 and $97.15. Okay, so why is it a negative? Well, the reason it's a negative is because whenever you give the bank money to invest, if it comes out of your wallet, you're losing the money. Okay, you're giving it to the bank. So if I want to make $1 million in 50 years at that percentage rate, I'm going to give them, I need to have about $260,000. And then they'll mature to $1 million in 50 years from now. So that's what we're going to put into here. All right, so negative 260,000 and $97. Was there a cents on there? 15 cents. All right. So again, that's coming out of my pocket. So no matter what these things are putting in, even if it's future value and debt, that will give you a negative future value, because again, that's coming out of your pockets. If you're making payments, that's negative. It's coming out of your pocket, all those payments you're making. If somebody's paying you stuff, let's say you're a landlord and people are paying you rent, that'll be a positive into your wallet. So that's how those things work there. Okay, so let's look at some other examples here. So to answer number 3, calculate and determine the amount you'll need to make it at that percentage. So we did. You're going to need, well, in this case, Josephine's going to need $260,000 and $260,097.15 to make that $1 million. Okay. All right, so we're going to do another client, Reginald. All right, and we're just going to kind of do the same thing. Reginald wants to find the future value of an investment of $6,000 that earns 6.25% compounded quarterly.